Supporters of United States President Donald Trump have turned on him after he was denied a possible last chance to secure funding of his planned border wall. Late on Wednesday, the United States Congress approved a bill to keep federal agencies funded until February. The Republican president was foiled in the Senate by members of his party, who refused to grant him any of the $5 billion he wants for the United States-Mexico wall. 2 years on, Mr. Trump has been unable to deliver on his key campaign promise. Congress faces a Friday midnight deadline of voting a partial shutdown of the federal government because they cannot agree a spending plan. Because of the political gridlock, the Senate has only been able to approve a 7-week extension of existing funds. The House of Representatives is expected to act on the legislation later this week. President Trump was quick to voice his displeasure, saying on Twitter on Thursday that he would not sign any bill that does not include the wall, but he has repeatedly threatened to shut down the government unless funding for his wall is included in budget bills, only to sign the spending legislation once it reaches his desk. The Democrats, who know steel slants wall unnecessary for border security, are putting politics over country. What they are just beginning to realize is that I will not sign any of their legislation, including infrastructure, unless it has perfect border security.
U.S.A.W.I.N.S.
End of Twitter post by @RealDonaldTrump. Members of the ultra-conservative House of Representatives Freedom Caucus were up in arms. North Carolina Congressman Mark Meadows, a key Trump supporter, said Trump campaigned on the wall. It was the center of his campaign. The American people's patience is running out. He called on the president to veto the bill and renegotiate. Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan noted in exasperation that plans to build the wall will only get more difficult from next month once Democrats become the majority in the House. Let me get this straight, Mr. Jim Jordan tweeted. Our chances of getting the wall will be better in February, when Nancy Pelosi is Speaker, than now when we have the majority. Give me a break. Mr. Trump's key conservative supporters in the middle were also up in arms. Breitbart News called it a cave. The Drudge Report used the headline, "Trump in Retreat." Radio host Rush Limbaugh said Mr. Trump is going to get less than nothing. Right-wing columnist and co-author of In Trump Win Trust recently opined that the president will not be re-elected without a wall. Without a wall, he will only be remembered as a small cartoon figure who bravely inflamed and amused the rabble. 2 Scandinavian women tourists have been found dead in Morocco with cords to their necks, the country's interior ministry said. Both bodies were found near the town of Imleo in the High Atlas mountain range, near the foot of North Africa's highest peak, Mount Tepco. The women, from Denmark and Norway respectively, have not yet been named. A police investigation has been launched into their deaths, the Interior Ministry statement said. 2 Scandinavian women tourists have been found dead in Morocco with cords to their necks, the country's Interior Ministry said. Both bodies were found near the town of Imleo in the High Atlas mountain range, near the foot of North Africa's highest peak, Mount Tepco. The women, from Denmark and Norway respectively, have not yet been named. A police investigation has been launched into their deaths, the Interior Ministry statement said. The United States military says it has killed 62 fighters from the Islamist group al-Shabaab in 6 airstrikes in Somalia. 4 airstrikes on Saturday killed 32 militants, and a further 2 on Sunday killed 28. It said in a statement. These were the deadliest terror attacks in Somalia since November 2017, when the United States said it had killed 100 militants. Somalia has seen a sharp increase in the number of airstrikes and casualties since President Donald Trump took office in the United States in January 2017. A tally by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism reveals that at least 400 people have been killed in airstrikes since the beginning of 2017, far more than the previous 10 years combined. The latest strikes bring to at least 40 the number carried out in Somalia so far this year, compared with 35 recorded in 2017. The United States has a huge military base in neighboring Djibouti, from where it launches attacks on the militants. Mr. Trump gave the United States military greater authority in March 2017 to attack militants in Somalia. Traditionally, United States presidents have been wary of intervening in Somalia since 18 Special Forces soldiers died fighting militias in the capital Mogadishu in 1993, a battle dramatized in the film Black Hawk Down. No civilians were killed in the latest airstrikes, which were carried out in coordination with the Somali government, the United States military said. Alongside our Somali and international partners, we are committed to preventing Al-Shabaab from taking advantage of safe havens from which they can build capacity and attack the people of Somalia. The United States Africa Command said Al-Shabaab, which is linked to Al-Qaeda, has not yet commented on the latest strikes. Somalia-based security think tank the Higher Institute said in a report published in November that Al-Shabaab had been forced to change tactics following the upsurge in airstrikes. The institute said the group was now conducting fewer mass attacks on military bases, but attacks on government offices and businesses which refused to pay its taxes had increased markedly. The United States State Department, in its most recent report on terrorism, described Somalia as a terrorist safe haven and said Al-Shabaab remained a threat. Despite suffering setbacks, the group retained control over large parts of the country and the ability to carry out high-profile attacks using suicide bombers, explosive devices, mortars, and small arms. The report added, 2 Scandinavian women tourists have been found dead in Morocco, with cords to their necks, the country's interior ministry said. Both bodies were found near the town of Imleo in the High Atlas mountain range, near the foot of North Africa's highest peak, Mount Tepco. The women, from Denmark and Norway respectively, have not yet been named. A police investigation has been launched into their deaths, the Interior Ministry statement said. A poacher has been ordered to watch the Disney film Bambi repeatedly after he was convicted of illegally killing hundreds of deer. Missouri hunter David Barry, Jr., must view the film at least once a month during his year-long sentence. He was arrested in August along with 2 family members for killing the deer, taking their heads and leaving their bodies to rot. Prosecutors said it is reportedly one of the biggest poaching cases in Missouri history. On top of the jail sentence for the illegal deer hunting, Judge Robert George ordered Barry Jr. to view the Walt Disney movie Bambi, with the first viewing being on or before December 23,
2018,
and at least one such viewing each month thereafter. During his spell in prison, the 1942 cartoon about woodland creatures shows a hunt to kill the mother of eponymous deer character Bambi. The months-long investigation, spanning several states, led to the arrest of Barry Jr., his father David Barry, Sr., and his brother Kyle Barry. according to a local newspaper, the Springfield News Leader. While the total number of deer taken illegally is unknown, Lawrence County's conservation agent Tandy Barnes said it could be several hundred. Barry Jr. received a year-long sentence in Lawrence County Prison after pleading guilty to illegally taking wildlife. He has also been sentenced to a 1-to-0-day term in Barton County Prison for a firearms prohibition violation, and both he and his father had their hunting privileges revoked for life by the Missouri Conservation Commission. The United States military says it has killed 62 fighters from the Islamist group al-Shabaab in 6 airstrikes in Somalia. 4 airstrikes on Saturday killed 32 militants, and a further 2 on Sunday killed 28.